Sou Philippe van Parijs, da Universidade Católica de Louvain. Eu acredito que dispense apresentações. À esquerda, professor Guy Standing, da Universidade de Bath e de Monash University, conhecido pelos seus trabalhos na área da segurança socioeconômica. E, finalmente, o senador Eduardo Suplicy. Como nós estamos com uma restrição de tempo muito grande, eu vou pedir aos nossos expositores que eles realmente se restringam a 20 minutos, para que nós tenhamos ao menos 10 minutos para um debate. Então, por favor, professor Philippe van Parijs, inicialmente, para a abertura dessa sessão.
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
20. Okay.
20. It's translated as 10.
Okay. Carlos. Obrigado, Lena. Let me say straight away how pleased I am to be here 24 years after the foundation of our network, then the Basic Income European Network, founded in Louvain-la-Neuve in 1986. As you can see from this picture, where you'll recognize some people under very sort of modest conditions compared to the sort of situation in which we meet today. So I'm pleased to be here after 24 years after the creation, partly because I'm pleased to be still alive. I may not be alive in 24 years from now. And secondly, because I'm so pleased that the network is still alive, not only alive, but thriving and developing. Of course, thanks to the energy, the tremendous energy for many people, and in particular, which has always been the biggest burden, the people who put their energy into organizing a congress such as this one, which with every time some innovation. Certainly, I've attended all 13 congresses, but it's the very first congress which has, as one of its plenary sessions, a football match tomorrow morning. So, Congress is a time to have games to some extent, but it's a time to come together, to see people with whom we are struggling together from a long distance. But it must also always be an opportunity to look seriously at problems. That is, our network can only remain strong, it can only grow stronger if we have the honesty not to elude the serious problems. And in my few minutes, I want to concentrate on one major challenge that is, people say, threatening the prospects of basic income in many places in the world, and is therefore central to the question of the future development of the ID. In order to see what's the nature of the problem, be careful, I'm going to ask you two questions, and you'll have to answer with "si" or "now," okay? Right. And you have the two questions there, so I'll ask you to approve or to disapprove. You have it in English and in Spanish. So here it is. We want everyone, and not only the privileged, to enjoy the real freedom to conduct their life as they wish. I'm assuming this. And therefore, we are in favor of an unconditional basic income to all. So, so, not too much enthusiasm. So, those who agree with this say "si" now.
Si.
Yes.
Si.
Those who don't agree with this say "now."
No.
Okay.
Now, I want to say now.
You have
yes.
Okay, wait. Now, that was an easy question. Now, the second question. We want everyone, and not only the privileged, to enjoy the real freedom to conduct their life as they wish, and therefore we are in favor of free migration across national borders for all, not only the privileged. Who is in favor of this? Let's say si now.
Si.
Who is not, who disagrees? Let's say no, now, now. Yeah. No, no one. Okay. Well, I'm afraid that most of you have the same problem as me, which is that it's easy enough to say yes in a consistent way to the first thing. It's easy enough to say yes in a consistent way to the second thing, but it's very hard to say yes in both cases. Because although there may not be an immediate contradiction, there is at least a strong tension between these two things to which we are drawn if we believe both in freedom and equality. There is a strong case for basic income, there is a strong case for open borders. But there is a clash between these two things, and there is in fact a fourfold clash. There are four aspects in the challenge. I'm quickly going through them. Free migration means mobility. First, mobility of the net contributors, the people who are going to be taxed in order to fund the system. But if you introduce a basic income, a generous basic income somewhere, you tax highly the people who are highly paid, well, they may be looking elsewhere to see where they could get a higher return to their skills, to their human capital, and therefore you'll have to lower the level of taxation on their income. Secondly, it's also the mobility of the net beneficiaries or the potential net beneficiaries. You introduce a generous basic income somewhere, say in San Antonio do Pinhal, and you say everyone is welcome to come and see our village and to contribute, but you are not saying to all Brazilians, please come and have a basic income in San Antonio do Pinhal, because then the basic income in San Antonio would not live for more than a few days, if not a few seconds, if everyone was crowding in there. So, second problem, the mobility of the net beneficiaries, so-called welfare magnet. But this is not all. There is more problem, because the first two aspects of the challenge relate to the economic sustainability of a basic income. But there is a further problem, because the more migration there is, the more heterogeneity, cultural diversity, linguistic diversity in the population. And therefore, the weaker the political sustainability of a generous basic income. For two reasons. One is that the net contributors, the rich in the country, if there is an ethnic difference with the poorer in the country, they'll identify less. They'll be less willing to support generous redistribution systems to people they don't regard as part of the same group as them. That's the first aspect. And the second aspect is that if there is a lot of heterogeneity among the people who are to gain from the basic income, it will be more difficult for them to mobilize. This was already the reason why Marx and Engels were against the immigration of Irish people into Manchester in the 19th century, because it would divide the working class and weaken their ability to struggle for a more just society. So here are four aspects of a big challenge for those who want at the same time a basic income and want to have something like open borders. How can we respond to that? And in my few minutes, so I have a longer paper which can be downloaded where I go systematically through the various possible responses. I'll quickly give you a glimpse of some aspects of three types of response we could have.